right here, excuse me. Well, we are really excited tonight. It's a big night for us. We're meeting another major milestone in the town's efforts to construct the new police station. And as the council knows, about 15 days ago, we opened bids. We had 7 construction companies bid. We have an apparent low bidder, A.R. Chesson. His bid price came in almost $100,000 higher than what the architect's estimate was and what our budget is. So we have asked A.R. Chesson to do what is called value engineer the project and to identify areas where changes, deletions, deferrals can be made, and we're reviewing a proposed list of changes. For example, a couple of the subcontractors recommended a different type of material that would get us what we need, but at a less cost. So we're confident that we're going to get the project to the budget price that you all have set. Once we had the certified bid tabs, the local government commission, which has to approve the financing, which has to ultimately give the town council permission to borrow the money from a bank to pay for the mortgage. The LGC requires that then, once we know based on an actual bid what the project cost is going to be, then we have to solicit proposals from banks to finance the project. And so Randy and I worked on that. We sent out 13 requests for proposals to different institutions. We sent it to all of our local banks, and then we also contacted that local government commission and got a list of banks that do deals similar to our size throughout the state. We received 4 proposals back, and there was a summary. Randy did a summary. There was a summary in your packet as to what the terms are. And the public hearing that's on the agenda tonight that was advertised is to solicit feedback from the public regarding the proposed financial terms for the project. We received, as I said, 4 proposals. The most favorable proposal at this date is from BB&T, and it was for a 15-year term at an interest rate of 2.98% with closing costs of $2,900. The USDA, the federal government's agency, submitted a proposal. They always do 40-year deals, but if we wanted to structure it with a 15-year payout, we could do that. And so Randy calculated what that cost would be. The caveat here is that USDA is expecting, or there is a possibility that their rates will change on April 1st. The rate could either stay the same, it could go down, or it could go up. Their rate now is 3.125%, which is higher than what BB&T's rate is. And before I go on, I would just say that if by chance on April 1st that rate is lower than what BB&T has proposed, I would recommend that we would ask the council to convene under the statutes, it would be called an emergency meeting, and then you would be able to accept that proposal. I'm not really, I just don't think it's going to drop down that much. If anything, it may go up. So, but we can hold out for that. So the other 2 proposals, one was from Albemarle Bank, and theirs was a 15-year note, but with a 5-year balloon. And that would mean that we would have to refinance. We would have to, at the end of 5 years, we would have to, whatever the interest rate was then, solicit proposals and renegotiate. And, you know, the chances are that, you know, the rate would be higher. So anyway, you may want to discuss that, but that makes me think that, you know, tying in at 2.98 with BB&T is a more stable, better option for the town. And then the the fourth proposal was from Gateway Bank, and they did offer it was a 20-year proposal at a 4% interest rate, but then it would balloon, and we would have to renegotiate after 5 years. Plus, they had a $62,500 loan origination fee. So, are there any questions on the proposals?
I have one, and looking at the BB&T, 15 years at 2.98, and then a $2,900 closing cost. And then Albemarle Bank is 15 years at 2.17 for the first 5 years, and then a balloon, or either 20 years at 2.79. Was there a closing cost involved there, or do we know?
There were, Randy, they didn't have.
I don't believe it.
Nothing said about a closing cost there.
And we did learn that the LGC, they want all local governments to do 15 years. That it would be very difficult, there'd have to be some extraordinary circumstance for us to go to a 20-year note.
Well, but their 15 years, 2.17, and I realize that there's a 5-year balloon, I understand that, but I'm just asking,
Well,
just discussion.
You know, in 5 years, where are interest rates gonna be? You know, are they gonna be, who knows, so you take that risk.
Nobody knows what it could be tomorrow.
I know.
Or April
So,
1st.
but that's something that you all could certainly, you could accept that offer. It's a lower rate for 5 years.
And the one with BB&T is 2.98 for 15 years with a $2,900 closing cost. Okay.
Comes down to whether or not you want to speculate
Yeah.
on 10 years worth of new loan rate. I'm a believer that it is not our job as custodians of public money to speculate on what the interest rates will be 5 years from now. One man's opinion, right?
I'm not disagreeing.
Mayor, after you conduct the public hearing, then the council will ask them to adopt a resolution authorizing us to file the application for approval of the financing agreement. And I do just want to point out, we try to remind people that, you know, that the town entered into a long-term lease agreement with Chowan County when they built the public safety center. And the cost of our long-term lease with a 40-year note was $5.8 million. And that interest rate was at 4.25%. And Chowan County, about 2 years ago, refinanced at a rate of 2.69 and did a much shorter term, 11 years. So they gave us the option of staying on the 40-year note, or we could go to a 30-year note, which would have saved us about $500,000. Or we could have gone to an 11-year note with them, but at the end of 11 years, we wouldn't own anything. They would own the asset. And they also gave the town the option to exit the agreement, to terminate the agreement. And so if you accept the BB&T proposal, the cost of the lease for 15 years with interest is $3,071,000, almost $3.1 million. So by building your own building, exiting the lease, you know, you're saving a tremendous amount of money. Plus, at the end of the note, you own the asset.
And that's what we've argued about the whole time. That's what we set out to do.
Right.
Absolutely.
I also noticed, Anne Marie, in the offer notice on letter from BB&T, they would hold all of this to May 31st. So their offer gives you the time window, right, to see what the USDA is gonna do on April 1st. And is there any question whether or not you can close between April, I wouldn't think so, April 1st and
We
May
asked,
31st.
in the bid proposal, we asked them to hold until May 31st because we're on the agenda for the local government commission for their May, I think it's like May 4th agenda. And then when, hopefully they'll approve it, and then it will take probably a week to 10 days to actually do the closing. So the bank will hold the bid, and then also, the contractor has also agreed to hold the bid price.
All right, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, again, this is a public hearing we're getting ready to open, and it's relative to the bank proposals and the staff's recommendation on which one we should accept to borrow in order to build a new police station. So with that bit of background, I'll now open the floor for public comment, and if there's anyone that would like to speak on the subject of the proposed bank loans and the fact that it has been recommended that we accept the BB&T offer, please feel free to do so. All that we ask is you come to the podium so we can hear you on our recording and state your name. So the floor is open.
Hi, my name is Pat Grother, and I live in the Mill Village. And I was wondering on this loan, what does it include? Is it just the building? Is it turnkey so that when this building is finished, all the furnishings, plumbing, electric, everything is done? And does it also include having purchased the other properties and moving the building?
Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
Great question. It does include all of those items that you mentioned. The town council, when they authorized the acquisitions of the property, in their resolution, they called for the general fund to be reimbursed from the proceeds of the loan. One of the, it will be a complete turnkey job in terms of all of the utilities. But one of the areas that we're looking at to help reduce the cost is in furnishings, looking at some options of buying possibly used office furniture, or Councilman Biggs told us about a program through the prison system where they actually construct office furniture at a very good price for local governments and state agencies. So
none of the furniture present at the other building is what the town purchased?
It's all part of the lease.
It was part of that lease?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat. Anyone else have a comment? Okay, seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing relative to the bank proposals as presented, and we move the conversation back here for action, which would translate into the signing of a resolution. Is that correct?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay.
The resolution will authorize the town to submit the formal application for the financing agreement to the North Carolina Local Government Commission. We'll work with the town attorney. He has to do a number of certifications. He has to certify that we advertise the project properly, that we have all of the, that we own all of the property. The architect has to certify that we have all of our state permits. So there's a lot of work to be done. Our goal is to file the application by the end of next week, but we'll be working hard on that, and Once it's filed, then we've already informed the local government commission of our intentions, so they're holding a slot for us on that May meeting.
Very good. Well, the chair is open to receive a motion that we accept the offer made by BB&T as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to that effect. Any further discussion?
Mayor, can I just make the point that if by chance USDA came in lower, that we would call a special meeting and you would rescind this and adopt with USDA?
Steve, you good with that language making part of the I think it ought to be part of the motion.
That's fine.
Okay. Mr. Second, you all right with that?
Bob? Yes.
Okay. All right, any further discussion or questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? All right, we will proceed forthwith to try to borrow money.
Mayor, I'm sorry I was late. I was in a trial in Williamston, and it didn't get over till 5:20. And the judge didn't care where I was going.
Yeah. Thanks for your effort to get here. You know, Anne Marie, you just said something that Steve mentioned to you about surplus furniture. There's a whole room full of surplus used office furniture that was once in this building back here. When the Northeast Commission was operational, it's being stored in Williamston at the call center, and the state doesn't seem to be too anxious to do anything with it. It's just sitting in a back room somewhere, and it's covered and cared for. So that might be another.
We'll check it out.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Next item will be our committee meetings. And we'll begin with administrative chair by Councilman Biggs, please, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 4 items on the agenda tonight, and we will try to get through these as quick as possible for you. As far as the proposal for sale and redevelopment of the ice house, as we know it, or the NC Commission, the Congress building, or whatever, 119 West Water Street. As it was in your packet, we have gone through an awful lot of due diligence, I would say, for that particular building. And it's only up to the committee to make a recommendation, and then it's up to this council to do whatever it chooses to do. And we've heard very soundly, I think, that people would love to see a brewery come to this town. And I'm not against bringing business. I'm certainly not against a brewery coming to this town. But as I have stated since the beginning, I'm not real happy, not the beginning, because I did vote the first time. But since then, I have said that I was sorry that I voted to sell the building. And I still remain sorry that I voted to sell that building. But I try not to come in here with a no attitude and not have a solution. And I think I made my solution that wasn't taken very well. And as you said a while ago, one man's opinion, that's all right too. I've had that happen all my life. But the long and short is I'm still not, I'm not satisfied personally with us selling that building. And my solution, again, would be that we talk to, and I know we're not going to give it away. That's been stated by each and every one of us. But my solution, again, would be that we talk to the gentleman that is looking to bring that brewery here and see if he would be interested in the building that we are sitting in. If that building back there is so important that we need to put covenants on it, protective covenants, then I've had people that have also said to me that what if years ago they had sold the Cupola house? Or what if years ago they had sold the Barker house? And if that building is, for whatever reason, that important, then maybe we shouldn't sell it. And again, that's just my opinion. I've had a lot of people that don't want to sell the building. I know we had a lot of people that do want to sell it. We had a lot of people that didn't care whether we sold the building or not, as long as we brought the brew pub to Edenton. And again, I don't have a problem at all with bringing a brew pub, restaurant, whatever style business that that he would like to bring. But I'll, as I always do, I'll turn it over to Ms. Simpson, since Mr. Bond is, Councilman Bond is not here and Councilwoman Simpson is. I will turn it over to her to see if she has some comments, and then we will try to move forward with this from a committee perspective.
Well, we can't please everybody here in Edenton, and of course we know that, and I have had a lot of call about that building also. This is something new to me, and I'm going to be as honest as I know how, and I want to treat everybody, you know, right. And as far as that building, I wouldn't want to sell it because of Mr. Leary that lives there. He might not have much of privacy. And it's okay with the brew. I don't drink beer. I don't have no problem with nobody else that wants to have it for that. But my thing of it is, at this point, I don't think we should sell it. Like I said, I can't please everybody, and I know a lot of people are going to be upset because they come in the doctor's office, they get talking about it, and I have had a lot of call about that building, so. And I don't think we should sell it.
So Mayor, I guess, since we're lacking one member tonight of our administrative committee, I mean, I don't really know what else to do with it except to send it to full council to not sell the building, but in the meantime, someone could contact both of the gentlemen that sent in the proposals, or they could contact, I think we should contact both of them and see if this building would work, or if there's another building in town that would work, just in case we come back and we have the same thing at our next council meeting, that the building not be sold. That's the only proposal that I know that we can send to the full council at this time.
Okay, the good news is that we're going to move this thing out of committee into the council, in my opinion. We need to vote one way or the other. A lot of sentiment and opinion has been expressed on this building behind us and its best use. If we can clearly bring forward a motion, I mean, that gives us, a recommendation, to the town council. That'll give us everything we need to do to get it on a full council agenda, have the discussion relative to the merits of what's been presented to us by the proposers, and then we can vote. We have to reach that point, and I think we have. I'm agreeing with you.
I think that's what we need.
We don't need any more information. We don't, in terms of the due diligence that's been carried out, I think we can have a discussion in the form of a motion and go from there. I do believe, though, that we should inform Mr. Allred if we're not going to accept his proposal as presented, due to the fact that it implies very clearly that the town gives him the building in order for him to develop his establishment. I think that needs to be done.
Well, and so do I. I mean, but I would think that we would do that now as just coming from the committee in case he wants to come up with some other proposal or amend his proposal. So after we have our discussion at the regular council meeting, both of them would be ready to move forward.
I agree. I mean, and we got plenty of time between now and the next council meeting to contact him and make that statement. If he counters in some way, then, you know, we carry on the conversation. But what was it I was going to say? Oh, I also believe, Anne Marie, correct me on this, I think we've already contacted them as far as any desire they might have to lease the building, and they both said no.
That's correct.
So, that being dealt with, and I think we need to see what Mr. Allred's position is, and then have it on the council's full agenda, and whatever motion comes forward, we can vote on. Is that the general consensus?
That is for the committee.
We're not going to have any discussion tonight. We're going to wait until it goes to full council. Is that what I understand?
I mean, that's Steve's prerogative. His committee can entertain discussion.
Well, I mean, I think
From what I heard, they're ready to move it.
I think we can discuss it to death.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think we have, you know, I think we've done the due diligence, and we could sit here all night tonight. We're still going to have to send it to the council for the same exact thing.
Okay.
I mean, I'm willing, as we have in the past. I've spoke, Councilwoman Simpson spoke. If anyone's got anything they want to add.
I'll just say one quick thing. I think that the young people in this town really want this brewery. I don't think we're going to get it unless it's there. And I think we'll have a building that sits there forever, and the Cupel House and those houses are owned by nonprofits. It's completely different, you know, and historic covenants are meant to, the mill has them on them. I mean, everything in public use, a lot of things have them on them. I mean, that doesn't really mean anything. My house has it on it. And I'm not getting ready to sell that. But I mean, I think that there's a movement in this town that wants this, and I think it'd be another thing to add to make it a more viable place. And I don't think this one's going to work out here. I think it would cost us so much more to move everything down there. I mean, I just don't think that doesn't work for me. I don't know what it would work.
Well, I didn't know this was in discussion about selling this building.
Yeah, I mean,
I've not heard.
Look, this is my opinion. That's just my opinion. Like I said, I don't come to this table completely to say no without trying to have an option. That's the only reason I brought this building up. I don't care whether it's this building or there's another building that we can possibly put either one, both of these gentlemen in. I don't have a problem. I mean, I think we should be pushing. I just don't think now is the time for us to sell that building.
Well, I don't think we need to talk about the protective covenants and the sailboat stuff until we decide what we're going to do with the building.
Well, we're going to talk about it in committee because it's on here, and we're going to make a recommendation for that also.
Okay. It just seems like we need to do it all at the same time.
And we are. That's okay. Following up right next, I promise. So we will send that on with that proposal, Mayor. Number 2 tonight, the protective covenants and the easements for the building. I agree with Councilman Dixon that number 1, if we're not going to sell that building, again, this is not coming from the committee. They'll have to also agree with this. I don't think we need to put protective covenants on it if we own it. Councilwoman Simpson, if you would like to talk about that, but that's what I would recommend, and I have said that 1,000 times, that I don't think we should put those covenants on it if we're going to own the building.
I don't have anything to say at this moment. Let me think about it.
With that being said, we will send that on to the full council also to be discussed. And the next item is sailboat, kayak, stand-up paddleboard storage facility that they are using at this particular time. The yacht club is using. Certainly they've been using it for a long time, and they can continue to use it until we can settle this. I think the building itself needs to be settled before we, even really push this issue about building a new building or even spending time to work with the National Park Service. So if Councilwoman Simpson is okay with that also, we will send that on to full council.
Yes.
Okay, now moving into number 4, the expansion of the downtown overlay district, the redistricting first floor resident dwelling. We had this discussion at the last meeting where it actually stops at Water Street and doesn't continue down all the way to the water. There was a lot of discussion about that it should continue on. I see Ms. Ingles here tonight, and unfortunately this is not a public hearing night, but we're going to have a public hearing before this can be settled. But I'm not sure, and I'd like for Anne Marie to at least ask Hood's opinion of this. If we continue right down this street, if we were to so desire to take that particular business out, if that's considered spot zoning. And I'm not sure that it wouldn't be. I don't know how we can stop it. I really and truly don't. I've thought about this a lot. I don't know how we stop this at Water Street. We've got actually 4 other businesses that are right here. And I don't know how we do that as part of this overlay. But Ms. Simpson, if you have anything you'd like to add to this tonight, or sorry again that Councilman Bond couldn't be here, but he was called in to work.
No, I don't have anything to add.
I'd like to make a comment if I could.
Yes, sir.
It's my understanding that the proposal that we got from both the planner that we hired and then also from our own planning department was clearly defined, that it would stop right up here at the corner of Water Street. The other buildings were brought up as the result of a conversation here at the table, but the motion that was presented last time and failed because of the lack of a second was working with a defined proposal to where the overlay would take place, and really it was pretty clear cut to me. I mean, and through the course of the conversation, other members of the council felt like it should be extended beyond where it was originally proposed. I happen to disagree with that. I thought the proposal was appropriate based on the reasoning behind the creation of the proposal in the first place. So I don't have any, like I say, I think it has been defined. I don't think we need to have another public hearing on it unless you change the parameters of the scope of the recommended overlay.
And I think that's what we're doing here tonight. I mean, that's what we're going to send to the full council.
To extend
it to the waterfront, yes,
okay.
sir.
I'm not on the committee, but I'll say one more time, I don't think it's fair that has a residential character, and that building, especially Miss Ingalls' building, is worth probably half as a business of what it is as a residence. And so you're taking half her value of her house away. So if she goes to sell it, she has to sell it as a business. And so somebody's not going to, a Broad Street price is completely different than a price. And if you look at it from the other side with the green and all that, that's completely residential. And what you're encouraging is for somebody to tear that thing down and put commercial all the way to the water. So when you look at the green, you won't see these two pretty houses anymore. I mean, we got to think about what we're doing. And I think it's not fair to her, and I just think this is dumb to do this. It's nothing wrong with it like it is. It works fine. We have transitional mixed use and down these side streets, exactly the same. The planner said do it, and I think we're setting ourselves up to do something that doesn't make any sense and is taking somebody's valuable property and making it, I would say, at least half as valuable. So her child inherits it, goes to sell it. I think they would sell it for about half what it's worth as a house.
Well, Mr. Dixon, I would really agree with you.
Yeah.
But they came to us asking for it to be a business. So I mean, so how do we handle this?
You know,
So how do we handle this? Do we use it as a business, or I'm not in favor of stopping it. There is no difference in that business sitting right across there. There is no difference in this building, should it become at some point in time one day a business. There's no difference in that house sitting right over there. It's a business.
I think it's where the old traditional Broad Street district stops.
Well,
and that, that's one man's opinion.
that's right. That's right. And we all got to think it.
So that's
But at least this way we can discuss it, talk about it, and get it done in the full chamber.
All right, so we're moving that forward with the recommendation that it be expanded, correct?
To the waterfront, yes, sir.
Can I ask a
Yes, ma'am.
question for clarification? The text amendment will have to be rewritten and re-advertised. So, but the full council is going to vote at the next regular meeting to redraft the text amendment.
That's
because we
correct.
won't have time between now and April to advertise for the public hearing. So you'll set the public hearing as part of your action, the council's action at the April meeting. Public hearing, expand the district, public hearing in May.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure I got it right.
And there's two already today that I know of that are residents on Main Street, on Broad Street. And I don't have a problem. If they want to come back to us and turn that back into a residence, I don't have a problem with that, because we've got to before we do this. But I think that is considered spot zoning. If there's a business in it and we don't do what we're supposed to do, I just think it's spot zoning. And you might want to check with Hood on that just to find out.
I will, but I think it's important to remember that in the downtown commercial district, you allow both residential and commercial. So
But if you stop it at Wall Street, that won't come into, spot zoning won't come into play, will it?
No.
but you're not changing the zoning, you're changing
overlay.
Overlay.
the overlay.
Okay.
But it includes a cupola house too.
But the district does. the
I mean,
overlay
this
does.
overlay district will include the cupola house, so if something happens, that could never go back in as a residence.
We should invite Hood perhaps to come or give you an opinion on what, if that overlay district is expanded, what does that do to those two, to Miss Engel's property?
Okay.
And also for me, as the moderator, when the committee's recommendation comes up, there'll be a motion attached to it, as I understand it, to expand, re-advertise, rewrite the text. If that motion fails, does that imply that the proposed overlay is accepted, or we would then have to get another motion to accept the overlay as that's probably what we'd have to do.
Well-
Not if it's not
Yeah.
changed, will it?
Yeah.
Well, technically, you did not do any, technically, that text amendment failed at the
Correct.
last meeting. So if the new, if you want to adopt the overlay as originally recommended, you're gonna have to have me re-advertise that, and you would have to vote on that, because it did not get approved, and it didn't get tabled at the last meeting. It died.
Okay.
So then it would require another public hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
I could.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's all the administrative committee has tonight, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Moving now to utilities, chaired by Councilman Quinn, please.
Yes, sir. This concerns the, actually, a conditional use permit for the solar farm to connect to our facilities to facilitate the substation operation. I'm sure that our town manager can better explain exactly what that represents.
I am gonna try.
Hmm?
I'm gonna try.
Okay, good.
Our utility director is on vacation today and tomorrow. He went to the mountains to visit his parents for Easter. And so I told him I would try to handle this. I've written to the council, I think 2 weeks ago, that we were working with O2 Energies. And you remember, they were the solar farm developer that originally wanted to put a farm at our airport. But because of potential conflicts with aviation, the developer found another farm and is looking at a site, actually has received their permits from Chowan County to install to build a solar farm off of Yopim Road. And Yopim, this is an illustration of the town's electric system, and the farm is located generally in this area, and so this is a line that's part of the town's electric distribution system. And what the developer is proposing and requesting is to upgrade our lines and run new poles to the substation, the town substation on East Freemason Street. And remember, in the report I wrote to you recently, the way the utility laws work, the federal government requires utilities to allow, and it's called PURPA, qualified utilities, which the solar farm has been qualified to. We have to allow them to connect to our system. We cannot say, you cannot say no. As an electric distribution system, you have to allow it. But you can allow it under an agreement that requires compensation that is fair and reasonable, and also generates a margin of profit for us. So we have been reviewing, we've had interconnect agreements before. You recall when we were working with the developer way back on Peanut Drive, and then we worked on the interconnect agreement with this developer for the airport property. Electricities has been assisting us and will assist us with the review of the interconnect agreement. I've obtained 3 copies of agreements that we're looking at. We're particularly interested in other electric municipalities who have agreements who are on the Duke system. I'm sorry, not the Duke, excuse me, the Dominion system. Because not all of the power agency members wheel through Duke, Dominion. So we want to make sure that we cover all the what-ifs for that. There are some benefits to the town. It built the system, the poles, everything will be upgraded. And the
the solar farm developer will be responsible for paying for those upgrades. They've done a feasibility study. That study was done last year, and it's estimated that the upgrades are going to cost about $500,000. They would be responsible for that cost. And we're working on trying to figure out what long-term, fair, and reasonable is for operation and maintenance, and then also our margin of profit. So I just wanted to, show you what we were talking about, remind you that we're working on this. And the sequence of events, we're hoping that by late April or early May, we would have an agreement for you to review. That's all that I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question.
Yes.
What are we gonna do with the profit margin? Where's that gonna go?
Well, if,
What was the question, Mayor?
We're gonna make a profit by allowing the electricity to flow into our system. A fee charge for, what is it, per kilowatt, or megawatt, or something?
it is. Well, I have some ideas, and that's a good question, Mayor, and that would be something that the council will have to decide, but the revenue will be generated by the electric fund, so it has to stay in the electric fund. But could that pot of money be used for things like new streetscape on Oakham Street? We talked about that as part of the neighborhood redevelopment, upgrading and replacing our very old street lights downtown. Are there areas in the system that are vulnerable and needs to be underground? Could you continue to identify areas where you want the overhead lines to go underground to improve reliability of the system? So the revenues have to stay in the general fund, but it could be used for projects to help improve the system.
Do you know if those wheeling contracts, or whatever they're known as, do they have escalators in them going forward, or is it a flat rate for X number of years?
That's a good question, and I am not sure about that, but we'll check that out.
Okay. Because I know we've had contractual obligations here that we've entered into that could have had escalators in them, most notably the wireless telephone transmission up on our water towers. We left a little money on the table.
Well, just the first agreement. All of your other agreements do have escalators. Some of them, yeah.
Okie dokie. So that's all we're doing now, just that overview.
A refresher.
Refresher.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else down there, Mr. Quinn?
No, sir.
All right, wrap up tonight with the Finance Committee report.
And we
Not
have,
report, but meeting.
we have a very packed agenda with tax reliefs and pickups. And anybody's got anything to say about that? I'll hear it now.
Send it on.
It's a good thing.
Okay, we'll send it on.
Okay.
That's it.
And with that, we have completed our agenda for this evening. Thank you all who came for being with us, and we will see you in April.
Sample has to take 15 minutes extra.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The judge would not let me go today.
Well, how did it turn out for you? Okay, was it worth staying over?
Yeah, it was good.
Okay. All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.